In a stark video released by Wagner chief Prigozhin, the Russian mercenary boss is seen standing in a field full of corpses with fresh bloodstains on their uniforms and bodies. In the footage, Prigozhin is personally blaming top defense chiefs for losses suffered by his group fighters in Ukraine. Wagner chiefs had tiraded that had reignited and escalated a long-running feud with the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, whom he has repeatedly accused of starving his forces of ammunition. Eight people were killed and at least 13 others were wounded in a shooting in the town of Mladenovac, which is south of Belgrade in Serbia. As per local media, the incident happened after a late-night argument ensued in a schoolyard. The Interior Minister described the shooting as an act of terror. The suspect has been arrested. A helicopter, drones and multiple police patrols were sent out to nab the suspect. The shooting comes less than 48 hours after a 13-year-old boy shot 9 dead and injured at least 7 at a school in Belgrade. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese expressed frustration over the arrest of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Albanese had said that he is frustrated for not yet finding a diplomatic fix over his continued detention in UK. He also said that he is worried about Assange's mental health. The founder of WikiLeaks is battling extradition from Britain to the United States, where he is wanted on criminal charges over the release of confidential US military records and diplomatic cables in 2010.
Free Julian Assange!
King Charles's coronation is just a few hours away, and in the latest, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said that he would declare his allegiance to King Charles at his coronation. Albanese is noted for his belief in Australia having its own head of state. In 1999, in a failed referendum, Albanese had voted to replace the British monarch as Australia's head of state. China has accused the US of using cyber weapons to spy and stage cyber attacks around the world. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson at a press briefing said that the US should stop such acts. The remarks were made after the release of an investigative report by China's internet security company. The report focused on activities by the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States and called it, quote-unquote, an empire of hackers. Five Indian Army soldiers died in an operation in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district, and one officer was injured in the encounter with terrorists, according to reports. The incident occurred when terrorists triggered an explosive device during the encounter that broke out with the army in the morning hours. According to the Indian Army, the terrorists belonged to the same group that ambushed an army truck on the 20th of April, in which at least 5 soldiers were killed and 1 other was injured. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is in Goa for the SCO meet. As expected, India urged Pakistan to review its unilateral actions so that normal channels of diplomatic communications are preserved. New Delhi further reiterated that territory under its control would not be allowed to be used for terrorism, and it expects Pakistan to fulfill assurances given at the highest level in 2004. However, instead of vowing to act against terror, the Pakistani foreign minister said, and I quote, "Let's not get caught up in weaponizing terrorism for diplomatic point scoring." India's northeastern state of Manipur witnessed violence during a rally dubbed as the Tribal Solidarity March. As clashes turned violent, the Indian state had to deploy the army and Assam rifles on Thursday. The Indian army has flagged fake videos, which it says are being circulated by anti-social elements for vested interests. Officials say the situation is now under control. Indian Home Minister is in touch with Manipur's Chief Minister. In the meantime, mobile internet has been suspended in the region. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has said that it was a defensive step by Manila to grant the U.S. access to its military bases in case China attacked Taiwan. Speaking at the end of his 4-day trip to Washington, Marcos Jr., however, did not respond directly to if the United States could place weapons at Manila's bases in case being attacked. Beijing had attacked Taipei. Now, Marcos Jr.'s visit to the U.S. comes at a time when rising tensions in the South China Sea dominate the global impression of the region. South Korea's opposition parties and representatives of citizens groups are protesting against Japanese Prime Minister's planned visit to the country, along with Seoul's cooperation with the United States and Japan. According to analysts, Kishida's urgent visit is to prepare for the trilateral meeting of the leaders from 3 countries, including South Korea, the United States and Japan, to launch trilateral military cooperation. A massive fire engulfed Haiti's popular Pétionville market. According to reports, late night the firefighters were notified about the fire. According to the head of the local fire department, a lack of water and fire extinguishing arrangements in the nearby area slowed down the firefighters' work significantly. At least 900 people lost their market stalls in the deadly fire, while the cause of the same remains unknown. Kenya is mulling over holding a referendum on becoming a republic and cutting its ties to the British monarchy as soon as next year. According to an official, Kenya is looking at holding a referendum in 2024, adding that with the transition in the monarchy, perhaps it was a good time to get done with it, according to reports. King Charles's coronation has triggered Jamaica's desire to become fully independent from its former colonial rulers. The Kenyan cult leader, thought to be responsible for over 100 deaths so far, has been released on bail. He was arrested last week over terrorism charges for his involvement in the deaths of his followers. At a court hearing, a Kenyan magistrate said that the state had failed to bring enough evidence before the court to reasonably keep the cult leader in police custody for another 30 days. As a result, the cult leader was released and ordered to deposit a non-cash bond of $22,000. After his release, his followers sang praise songs and celebrated the court's decision. Sudan's ambassador to Ethiopia said that Sudan's army is prepared to cease fighting immediately, but stated a condition that the rival rapid support forces must lay down arms first. The envoy made the statement at a press conference, saying that the army seeks to dislodge the RSF from its positions near central Khartoum in intense battles. He added that it was up to the paramilitary group to take the first step towards peace. Despite multiple ceasefire declarations, the two sides appear to be battling for control of territory in the capital Khartoum ahead of the proposed talks.
I came to Addis to meet
People lined up in Port Sudan on Thursday in a bid to flee the fighting that is taking place across the war-torn African nation. An Australian Air Force plane was waiting on the tarmac to take the evacuees to Australia as scores of people waited to get their documents checked. US intelligence warned that the conflict in Sudan is likely to be protracted. This comes even as the Sudanese army is trying to dislodge the paramilitary rapid support forces from its positions near central Khartoum installations in fierce fighting. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck off Japan's western prefecture of Ishikawa. Authorities have ruled out any tsunami warning, and the government has set up a disaster countermeasures office in a crisis management center. According to Japan's chief cabinet secretary, residents should continue to watch out for earthquakes with a seismic intensity of more than 6 on the Japanese intensity scale. No abnormalities were reported at the Shika nuclear power plant located in the Ishikawa prefecture. Thousands of Buddhists gathered to celebrate Wesak Day in Kuala Lumpur. Colorful floats, monks and performers took part in a 12-kilometer parade through the Malaysian capital. Wesak Day commemorates the Buddha's birth, enlightenment and death. Devotees across Asia observe this day. The celebration marks an about turn from the previous years of muted celebrations due to the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns. Ahead of the coronation ceremony of King Charles III, suitable flowers have been prepared. This is in line with the King's interest, who has spent much of his life campaigning for sustainability and against a throwaway economy. Bouquets and bunches of primroses, wild grasses and cowslips are already on display in Chapter House at Westminster Abbey, where the ceremony will take place. The Californian river guides are describing the just underway whitewater rafting season as an epic season. The state's historic winter storms dumped a record amount of snowfall in the Sierra Nevada mountains. As the snowpack began to melt, it's resulting in cascading volumes of water flowing into various rivers at never-before-seen rates.